The Government of India, often abbreviated as GOI, and also referred to as the central government or union government or simply the centre, is the union government created by the Constitution of India as the legislative, executive and judicial authority to govern the union of 28 states and 8 union territories. The seat of the government is located in New Delhi, the capital of India. The Government of India, also known as the Union of India, is modelled after the Westminster system. For governing the state, the union government is mainly composed of the executive, the legislature, and the judiciary, in which all powers are vested by the Constitution in the Prime Minister, Parliament and the Supreme Court. The President of India is the head of state and the Commander-in-Chief of the Indian Armed Forces, whilst the elected Prime Minister acts as the head of the executive and is responsible for running the union government. The Parliament is bicameral in nature, with the Lok Sabha being the lower house and the Rajya Sabha the upper house. The judiciary systematically contains an apex Supreme Court, 25 high courts, and several district courts, all inferior to the Supreme Court. The basic civil and criminal laws governing the citizens of India are set down in major parliamentary legislation, such as the Civil Procedure Code, the Penal Code, and the Criminal Procedure Code. Similar to the union government, individual state governments each consist of executive, legislative and judiciary. The legal system as applicable to the union and individual state governments is based on the English common and statutory law. The full name of the country is the Republic of India. India and Bharat are equally official short names for the Republic of India in the Constitution, and both names appears on legal banknotes, in treaties and in legal cases. The terms union government, central government, and Bharat Sarkar are often used officially and unofficially to refer to the Government of India. The term New Delhi is commonly used as a metonym for the union government. As the seat of the government is in New Delhi, the powers of the legislature in India are exercised by the Parliament, a bicameral legislature consisting of the Rajya Sabha and the Lok Sabha. Of the two houses of Parliament, the Rajya Sabha is considered to be the upper house and consists of members appointed by the President and elected by the state and territorial legislatures. The Lok Sabha is considered the lower house. The Parliament does not have complete control and sovereignty, as its laws are subject to judicial review by the Supreme Court. However, it does exercise some control over the executive. The members of the Council of Ministers, including the Prime Minister, are either chosen from Parliament or elected thereto within 6 months of assuming office. The Council as a whole is responsible to the Lok Sabha. The Lok Sabha is a temporary house and can be dissolved only when the party in power loses the support of the majority of the house. The Rajya Sabha is a permanent house and can never be dissolved. The members of the Rajya Sabha are elected for a 6-year term. The executive of government is the one that has sole authority and responsibility for the daily administration of the state bureaucracy. The division of power into separate branches of government is central to the republican idea of the separation of powers. The executive power is vested mainly in the President of India. As per Article 53 of the Constitution, the President has all constitutional powers and exercises them directly or through subordinate officers as per the aforesaid Article 53. The President is to act in accordance with aid and advice tendered by the Prime Minister, who leads the Council of Ministers as described in Article 74 of the Constitution. The Council of Ministers remains in power during the pleasure of the President. However, in practice, the Council of Ministers must retain the support of the Lok Sabha. If a President were to dismiss the Council of Ministers on his or her own initiative, it might trigger a constitutional crisis. Thus, in practice, the Council of Ministers cannot be dismissed as long as it holds the support of a majority in the Lok Sabha. The President is responsible for appointing many high officials in India. These high officials include the governors of the 28 states, the Chief Justice, other judges of the Supreme Court and High Courts on the advice of other judges, the Attorney General, the Controller and Auditor General, the Chief Election Commissioner and other election commissioners, the chairman and members of the Union Public Service Commission, the officers of the All India Services and Central Civil Services in Group A, and the ambassadors and high commissioners to other countries on the recommendations of the Council of Ministers. The President, as the head of state, also receives the credentials of ambassadors from